What's good, YouTube? It's your man Rage King back with another one. Yes, another upload to the channel. And before we get started, I ask if you'll please go down there and hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit that share button, hit that bell for notifications if you're new. Welcome to Rage Ranch TV. This is how we do Rage and Rebels. Crown up. And if you're new to the crew, welcome to the Rage and Rebel Revolution. Now let's vibe, and y'all. I know it's been a lot of news concerning Deshaun Watson back at practice. Deshaun Watson this, Deshaun Watson that. As y'all know, with Houston Texans training camp coming up, we are a few weeks out. We are less than 2 months out from getting football back. I know I speak for a lot of the fans here and a lot of fans of football when I say football has been gone for too long and it's time for a return. Now, having said all that, Houston Texans fans, we got to talk. Let's speak on it. Now, the following article will explain a lot. Will explain everything that's been going on since the Texans training camp has begun. I'm going to read this article and then we're going to speak on it, all right? So let's get into it. The following article reads, nobody cares about Nico Collins burning John Reed or Isaiah Coulter being on the roster bubble or Alex Erickson getting first-team reps or Titus Howard playing left guard or Jordan Atkins outrunning Christian Kirksey or how good, was it Kahale Warren looks in shorts. Y'all honestly could have kept that last statement. No, the only thing anyone and everyone cares about is Deshaun Watson, and rightfully so. Have you seen him play football? Last week, Watson showed up to Texans practice. He got limited reps as the fourth-string quarterback, relegated to scout team safety, something he probably hasn't had to do since he was 14 years old. The day before pads came on, Watson was at the training table getting his foot and ankle looked at. Then he disappeared, vanished. He skipped out on practices where football morphs from a contact to a collision sport. Any good coach will tell you that. Football is not a contact sport. Football is a collision sport. Hence the reason why I don't play no more. Too many shots to the head. That changed once again today. Watson was back at practice. He was seen conversing with Nick Casario, tossing passes, autographing footballs, and tossing them to fans. Now, that begs the question for me to ask, y'all. And I want to ask the Raging Rebels this. Y'all, if Deshaun Watson were to recant his trade, if he decided that he wanted to stay and play his entire career out in Houston, would you accept him back? I mean, because let's be honest. I know I've made videos criticizing the decisions Deshaun Watson has made because I truly do believe that Deshaun Watson did help put himself in this situation. I'm not sitting there saying that he had anything to do with the ownership making poor decisions. My only beefs with Deshaun Watson were, you just signed a contract and you already acting like you run the place. And then two, you're not even giving David Culley nor Nick Casario a chance to do their jobs. You understand what I'm saying? You're not even giving them a chance. And here's another thing, and I've said it before too, the whole wanting to trade thing, Deshaun, any place you go, you're going to have to go through a rebuild. So you might as well just stay in Houston. Now, I get it. I understand. They went back on their word. They didn't keep their word. But be honest with me, bro. Let's just be honest. If we lived in a world where people didn't go back on their word after they told you one thing, went something, and went another place, bro, businesses would not exist. They would not. It happens all the time. It's unfortunate, yes. It is. It sucks. It does. It sucks that a quarterback as talented as you, no matter where you stay, whether you stay with Houston or you get traded to another team, you're going to have to go through a rebuild. It sucks, especially seeing how Lamar Jackson and Pat Mahomes have teams built around them, have the right coaches where they need them, and have ownership that is willing to do what they need to do to make that team successful. I get it. I'm on your side. I'm just simply saying, Deshaun, you are not stainless in this. Never have been. All that was needed to be done, Deshaun, all you had to do was play 1 year on that contract and be like, you know what? I'm not happy with this. As y'all see, I'm performing, and it's just not I can't work with this. Then people would have completely gotten off your back. People would have had nothing to say. That and the civil suits you got going on against you. Which, I've made a whole nother video on that. You still got that looming over your head. So with that, you know what I'm saying? With that being said, that's the only places where I blame Deshaun. Other than that, the Houston Texans did screw this up. They did. They screwed it up. They screwed up big time because there was no reason for you to go back on your word. I get the frustration from Deshaun, but Deshaun did not make his situation any better. That's not me talking bad on Deshaun. I'm rooting for Deshaun. But we just got to call a spade a spade. You made it worse than what it needed to be. Let's read on. Oh, before we read on, the conversing with Nick Casario, I don't think that was him trying to converse and make a trade. I really don't. I honestly do think that Deshaun is slowly starting to see that no matter where he goes, no matter what he does, it's pretty much going to be a rebuild, as I have been saying before. And I ask again, Raging Rebels, would you receive, for those that beg to ask the question, would you receive Deshaun Watson? Would you take him back? Would you accept him back? Would you cheer Deshaun Watson if he decided that he wanted to remain in Houston the rest of his career? Let me know down in the comment section. Let's read on. Now let's read on. He lasted only 5 periods before heading back to the locker room and calling it quits. John McClain, a very respected sports reporter in the Houston area. I've grown up listening to this man, reading his articles, and to be honest with you, he's another one of him and Bill Worrell are some of the reasons, and Stephen A. Smith are the reasons why I even do YouTube about sports. So with that being said, Mr. John McClain sent out a tweet saying Watson went to the locker room after the 5th period. Watson back at practice, watching in short shirt and towel over his head, so he really wasn't a part of it. So if they are going to trade, if they do decide to trade Deshaun Watson, which I don't think they should this season, especially with all that stuff, all the legal trouble he got looming over his head, if you're going to trade him, wait till next season. I don't think they should trade him at all. I think there's a way for this to work. You just got to want to make it work. That's just me. Reading on. With the season a month away and teams still calling on Watson, the Texans are correct in remaining strong against trading him, as they should be. All reports state the Texans won't take a bargain offer, as they should not. They would only move him if an actual offer that is representative of his value is made. There really isn't one. There ain't. I've been saying that. You're not going to get back value for that kind of quarterback. It's a generational talent. Until then, Watson is stuck in Houston, as I have been saying for the past 6 or 7 months. You're stuck here. And to be honest with you, I got another video coming that it could easily be argued that Deshaun Watson could very well be stuck here another 8 years. We'll get into that video later. Casario shouldn't trade Watson until next offseason when he knows what the picks acquired would be worth. In a rebuild, draft capital is the only resource that matters. Getting mid-round picks instead of a top 5 pick isn't something that is worth the risk. As we know, we are at least a year, if not years, away from a possible Watson NFL suspension. That is another thing I wanted to touch on. Y'all, in another video coming, is the NFL going to suspend Deshaun Watson with or without pay? I think that they're going to suspend him without pay because in the times we got like this, and the times we're going through like this, where perception is reality, and they're gonna look to make an example out of an athlete. I'm not saying that they should. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm simply saying is, don't be surprised if we see Deshaun Watson suspended an NFL season without pay. Don't be surprised. With the NFL looking to make an example more and more out of their players, to show and be to be role models and have the right attitude and be a model citizen, especially after seeing what happened with Richard Sherman and all the DV cases and everything like that going on. I would not be surprised, and the Me Too thing going on, I would not be surprised if the NFL pulls one on Deshaun Watson and has him sit out a year unpaid. But that's just me for a whole nother video. Reading on. The question isn't whether Deshaun Watson will be traded, but if he will play for the Texans at all this season. The door seems cracked with what has recently occurred. Houston football staple John McClain has said otherwise. Watson will never play another down for the Texans. Now, Mr. McClain, I got to be honest with you. Let me read this and then I'm going to get to you. In this situation, we don't know much. We know Watson will... I'm so tongue-tied. We know Watson is still a Texan. He's at practice. Teams are making calls. He hasn't rescinded his trade request. With a month left until the season kicks off, there's a lot that can and most certainly will happen. Now, Mr. McClain, to get back to you, saying Watson will never play another down for the Texans. I think that is false. Everything in this situation is leaning towards Deshaun Watson getting suspended for the season. With or without pay is still up in the air, but I think the NFL is going, and I'm not wishing it on the young man at all. I'm saying young man like I'm not 28 years old, but I'm not wishing it on the guy at all. I'm not, but I'm thinking that the NFL will completely pull the wool over his eyes and make an example out of him and suspend him without pay for a year. Now, I honestly do think seeing that Deshaun Watson is out there interacting with the fans. He's out there talking with Nick Casario. He's at practice. You know, I know a lot of people say, well, he's just trying not to get fined. I'm trying to be Marshawn Lynch. I'm just here so I don't get fined. You understand what I'm saying? But the fact that he's there, when at first reports we heard that he was fully prepared to sit out training camp and everything like that if he had to, yet he's there, that further lets me know that Deshaun Watson is slowly starting to realize that, damn, no matter where I go, it's going to be a rebuild. And then I don't even know if these civil cases are going to land me in jail or not. Then I got to deal with the NFL. It's too much writing on Deshaun Watson wanting to trade. It's too much on Deshaun. It's too much going against Deshaun. Let me say that. It's too much going against Deshaun for him not to ever play for the Texans again. As screwed up as the situation may be, as horrible and as horrid as this situation is, there is too much going against Deshaun for him to decide where he wants to go play football. I honestly would not be surprised if we see Deshaun Watson playing football in the 2022-2023 season. I don't think he'll play football this season. I truly do not. I think even he knows he's not playing football this season. So to end the video, I gotta say this, Mr. McClain, much respect to you, man. You've forgotten more about the sport of football and reporting on football than I'll ever learn in my lifetime. Much respect to you. You've probably been doing this longer than I've been alive. I'm 28. I'm pretty sure you've been doing this just as long, if not longer than I've been alive. But I respectfully disagree when I see Deshaun Watson will never play another down with the Texans. I truly do believe that he will. It just won't be this season. It just won't be this season. But that's just my opinion. Y'all let me know down in the comment section, man. What do y'all think about the Deshaun Watson situation at training camp? Are you still a fan of Deshaun Watson? Would you like to see Deshaun Watson traded? Would you like to see him stay in Houston? What are your thoughts on him talking with Nick Casario and being at training camp when he said he wasn't? At least reports were that he wasn't. What do you think about John McClain saying that he doesn't think Deshaun Watson will ever play football for the Texans again? What do you think about Deshaun Watson's legal situation and how the NFL will handle that? Do you think he'll play this season? Do you think he'll be suspended with pay or without pay? As long as you remain respectful and logical, we can have a conversation. But that's going to be the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed. It's been a pleasure making it for you. My name is Rage King. I am out, and I'll be back later on with more videos, more commentary, and more good content. Now, hashtag that enough said. See y'all later.